Hello. What is this video about? So it's the last day of May. It's the last day of May. And I think that's what this video is about. And it's also about, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about it's hard for me to say it, my twin thing that I've made videos on before, like the spiritual twin. But let's talk a little bit about it almost being June. So I didn't sleep last night, and it's 7 a.m. I'm really tired. So this has happened before, and oftentimes, my skin looks pretty nice actually right now. But oftentimes I crash at maybe no later than 9. I just completely crash. But I spent the past couple hours watching Hoarders. It was a TV show from maybe 10 years ago. My God. It's so interesting because these people's physical lives, if you don't know, it's a TV show where people have their houses filled with garbage. And it's insane. And they're hoarding all of this stuff because they're usually really messed up spiritually and emotionally. And they're living in fear, or they have a lot of trauma. Oh my God. It was so eye-opening to watch because it's like everything can be brought back to energetic blockages in the body or spiritual blockages in the body. Because I watched only 2 episodes, but I would rewatch little parts because I'm very sensitive. And this will tie into talking about my twin, I think. Not because I think he's a hoarder, I think because of the concept of what I'm talking about. But with the first episode I watched, it was a woman named Carol who was a piano teacher for this rich couple. And the rich couple had this beautiful home, big, beautiful home, big. They probably were millionaires. And this was probably in the 90s, 80s, that time. Big, beautiful home, big, happy family, all of this. There was this woman, this third-party woman named Carol, who, the mother of the family, committed suicide in the basement. And then very quickly, I think it was within a couple weeks, the piano teacher moved into the house. Yeah. And they didn't talk about it, but it was very obvious to me what was going on. It was supposed a big happy family, but it was a facade, and the wife was dealing with a lot of depression and emotional stuff spiritually, I could tell. And that's sort of what pushes you to that place of suicide and darkness. And this woman, Carol, this third-party woman, it's exactly what I talked about in my cheating video, of when a woman loses her energetic seat her power, which is her energy and her spirit, when she loses that, it makes the husband or the boyfriend lose direction too. Because all he's there for is the physical, not the spiritual. And so she lost that, or maybe she didn't have very good spiritual hygiene. Obviously, it's a lot to talk about, but like, this couple was married. The woman, they had a lot of money. They had 3 boys. The woman ended her life. She had obviously a bad friend who was a third party, you know. They were saying, oh, Carol was really close in the family. She was a really close family friend. That was the mistress. Keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. The mistress. And it was very apparent that, and Carol was the one that got in the house, started the hoarding, started the controlling, you know, and then eventually stole a lot of money from the family and packed it full. And it was apparent to me that she was the mistress and the piano teacher, and she came in. And the reason the husband probably cheated with her is because his own wife was energetically all over the place. You know, she wasn't quite in her security, which is what you have to be as the feminine in a relationship in order to anchor your king. And if you're not that, I hate to say this, I really do, but I truly feel like if a woman is fully in her worth, if a feminine is fully in their worth and their power and their energy, it doesn't matter if the king cheats on another person. First of all, he rarely wants to cheat because he knows the consequence is losing her. And she knows that she's a 10 out of 10, like a gem. And she's not concerned if he goes and cheats, because then she'll just do it on her own and probably kick him out and probably, you know, move the fuck on and let him be with whoever the fuck he wants to chase, knowing that it won't compare to her because she knows her worth. And then she'll attract a new man who can come in and do the work and treat her properly and help her meet her standards. That's what a healed feminine looks like. And this woman wasn't that. She was wounded. And so it got really dark. I suspected there was cheating with Carol, the mistress, the piano teacher. And that spiraled into probably the wife finding out wife's name was B, wife finding out, wife getting depressed, already having mental issues, spiraling into, well, maybe everyone would be better off if I wasn't here, since my husband wants another woman, since blah, 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 and getting into that dark place. And then Carol maybe even feeding that, because she wants the house, she wants the husband, she wants the money, she wants a destiny swap, basically, with the woman, the wife. It was a crazy story. And both the feminine people, the women, were warped. Where Carol was a hoarder and the other one ended things. This all comes into play with my twin. It does. I kind of want to talk directly to him, like that's kind of what I'm making this video for, but I don't want to say his name. But like, I want to talk directly to him because there's so many things I'm learning watching these hoardings and the things that have happened the past couple weeks for me and what I'm realizing about who I want to become and who I'm doing the work to become and how hard it is. And I don't know, there was a lot of forgiveness I was feeling and grief a little bit, and I've been learning about all sorts of different things, and it's a lot to talk about. But it all makes sense together. Yeah, this video is kind of directly for him, for my twin flame. And this is all connected, I feel like, to this update I'm doing. But anyways, the second episode was this woman who had 2 children, an older daughter and a younger son. So, older sister, younger brother. And she bought this house, and there was no father figure. And she was struggling with poverty and scarcity and whatnot. And apparently she had been stolen from in the house by a friend who stole a bunch of jewelry, and that made her lose trust and have a lot of fear, and she started hoarding more to try to block the walls of the house to keep it safe. And she would always tell her daughter, like, I'm trying to build these walls to keep us safe. Oh my God, it was so sad. And the son was like very codependent with the mom, like living with her. He had a laptop and they were just living in filth, and then he looked disastrous as well. Like, oh my God, they didn't have a working shower or a bath or a toilet. Like, they were shitting in bags or something and tying it or something. It was just disgusting. And she wouldn't get rid of clothes because she was like, I need all these clothes because I can't afford clothes and I need to have stuff to wear. I don't have a washing machine, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God. And when asked about her goals, she said, I don't do goals because that's a waste of time and every goal I set doesn't happen. And I thought, wow. What a crazy spell to cast on yourself. All of the dreams I have don't happen. All of the dreams I have don't come true. Every 10-year plan, 20-year plan, 5-year plan I make doesn't happen. You can't trust people. Everyone wants to steal from you. I'm constantly afraid. And it was a similar story with the other hoarder. Like, all of these negative things of really fear-based mindset. And I made a video, I think yesterday, about yin and yang and positive and negative and how it's important to balance the two. So for example, with this woman, addressing the reality of what she feels, of everyone steals from me. Okay, maybe not everyone steals from her, but she was stolen from. And my guess, because the only reason you would have 2 children and a house and live in poverty and not have a guy figure is because you had a deadbeat dad. And the reason that happened as well is because energetically you're not in the right place as a woman. And so maybe you sleep with a guy who hasn't earned it, who hasn't earned the right to your body to sleep with you, to prove that he's eligible to be a parent and a father. And instead you give your body away, or even worse, you get assaulted, and that even messes more with your sense of self-worth and stuff like that. But all of that happens, and then you're left in all this darkness. I could see how anyone would get to that place of filth and piles of trash and scarcity, and validating that darkness is yin. It is the shadow. when you do that and you confront it, that's when it actually heals. Because there's no healing that actually happens in the light. It all happens in the dark. That's what shadow work is. It's looking at the truth of, I slept with a guy who didn't give two flying fucks about me. And there was even in that story about her telling her children, don't have children, they ruin your life. So she felt like her children ruined her life. What a horrible thing to tell your children. Never tell your children that. Everything changes. And sometimes children can become your greatest blessing. That's the light, right? That's the hope. That's the yang. And you have to balance these two, the yin and the yang. Because the yin is looking at the darkness and embracing it with compassion. And the yang is seeing the positive, no matter how dark it's gotten. And you can do that only because you've healed by embracing the truth and looking at the pain and recognizing it and healing it. Then you can turn around and say, my children are the greatest blessings I have, positive things are happening to me. My life gets better and better every day. And I resonate a lot with this too, with yin and yang. My mom is extremely yin and can fall into darkness really easily. And my next door neighbor is a hoarder, big hoarder. And I think that's why this has all been coming up. And it's probably why the YouTube algorithm suggested hoarding to me, because I've talked a little bit in conversations with other people while my phone is listening to the woman staying with my next door neighbor. I won't say her name either, but there's a woman staying with my next door neighbor who has been living with him for about a month and is moving out in 2 weeks. But there's been a real wake-up call for a lot of things in my next door neighbor's life. I went over there and it's not as bad as these videos, and I do cleaning professionally for work, so watching these hoarding videos was kind of helpful because it's sometimes what I deal with. They had professional organizers, they had professional cleaners, and they had therapists, like a psychiatrist come in who specializes in the mentality of hoarding. And I think there's a spiritual aspect too. But my next door neighbor does a lot of hoarding, not piles covering her house, but for similar reasons. And the woman that's been staying with them has brought up certain points, like, why do you need 50 million to-go boxes? And she's like, I'm going crazy. There's stuff coming out of the walls and blah, blah, blah. And the back room is like this. The second bedroom is the one she's staying in, the guest. And my next door neighbor is this older woman over 70 and an older man over 60. And he works and she doesn't. And she cooks and she still does some things. It's not like these people we see. It's not like these people we see in the Hoarders, series where it's insane. But it's the same thing where, and I had a little conversation with this, it's going to tie into what I was doing yesterday and how connected that is actually to something I feel with my twin. But like yesterday, technically 2 days ago, I went to a park It was the Albuquerque, what was it, like Botanical Gardens. My God, that place was beautiful. And it made me feel like my inner child come out again. And this has happened a lot in this town, where I've been to certain places and it's pulled out like inner child parts of me, even though I've never been a child in this city. And there's like a longing. There's certain like, even like elementary schools. I'm curious about that actually. There might not even be anything to it. I don't want to make it mean anything weird. But there was an elementary school right next to my first boyfriend's in this city, his apartment. And he would walk his dog in this park at this elementary school. And I remember just being at this elementary school, it brought out that same feeling of like inner child. I got that from working at some of the pools here, because I was a lifeguard at some of the pools. I got that same feeling of like the inner child coming out, and same with the botanical gardens. And I don't want to make it mean anything like, oh, that's the elementary school that my twin went to. I do kind of want to say the elementary school just in case I'm right. It was called, I think it was called Zia Elementary School. But that's where my first boyfriend lived in apartments right next to those. We would go walk his dog in the park right next to it. He only lived there for like, I don't know, maybe 7 months while I knew him anyways. And I would later dog sit for him, and that's where I would go, that park. So, and I would kind of look around the elementary school too. It just was weird. It brought up things for me, the elementary school. But I don't know if it has anything to do with my twin. It just felt like that. And same with the botanical gardens, and same with some of the pools. Even, and also I want to say this too, the airport here brings up similar, it's not inner child feelings, but it's like memories. But I've only lived here for like 2 years, but it's brought up memories. Going through the airport, flying, it's been weird. But coming back to the hoarding and my neighbor, we went to the botanical gardens yesterday. We were all supposed to go, me, my neighbor, and the guest she's housing, and my neighbor didn't go. Let me flip you off for a second. No, my neighbor didn't go because she was drinking. She's been drinking alcohol a lot. She took a Benadryl last night, and I'm gonna call her Dolly, okay? Dolly is the guest. My neighbor is, what would her name be? Mary. Okay, Mary is my neighbor. Dolly is the guest. The husband's name is John. So Mary and John are married. Dolly is the guest living in their house. I was paid by Mary to clean the house. I cleaned the house a lot. And then I cleaned the back second bedroom, which was like a hoarder's bedroom. It was like covered. The floors were covered. Everything was everywhere. I had to go through with her, donate stuff, throw out stuff. It was bad. Just to make room for Dolly, so Dolly could come in last month. Dolly moved in. They've been living for about a month. Dolly's getting her own apartment on the 4th floor, and she's moving out in 2 weeks. And Dolly has had a lot of eye-opening things about these couple. And it just changed everything for me. Because it's so much to wrap my head around, but Mary and her husband John, which are not their real names, have been my next door neighbor for 3 years. And they smoke cigarettes, and he is got anger problems, and she's codependent, and she is dependent on him. She's stuck to him, and she has self-worth issues, and she has an alcohol problem, and she smokes. She doesn't have teeth. And I've been in denial about who they are. And because Dolly's moved in and been very honest about who they are, it's been like, wow, this is the truth. And I have this habit of painting people in a light that's different than who they are. There's the quote, when people show you who they are, believe them. I don't do that. I try to see the benefit of the doubt. I try to look on the bright side. I try to see people, the good in people, but that's not who they are sometimes. I'm not saying these people are bad people. They're wounded people, Mary and John. And the whole time I've lived here, it's been bang, 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 bang on my door. Bang, bang, bang. Can you do this? Can you do that? Come sit on the patio with me. Come play with me, is what I used to say. It's what it felt like a little girl going, come play with me. I'm lonely. And I would. And the husband, John, mocking my singing, mocking the way I sound when I sing, mocking who I am, mocking the fact that I'm a dancer and working as a dancer. He would mock that and make fun of that. And I would try to brush it off my shoulders, but it wasn't nice. It wasn't cool. I don't like being told I sound like a dead cat when I'm trying day in and day out to be better as a singer because it matters to me. And I love it and I'm passionate about it. I don't want to be told I sound like a dead cat by my neighbor. You're a fucking asshole. That's who you're showing me you are. You're a fucking asshole. And she's needy and clingy and doesn't know her worth. There was even an incident before Dolly moved in where I needed a new laundry card, and I asked them if they had one. And it was after I had cleaned, and he, John, couldn't find the laundry card, so he blew up like off the rails, yelling, screaming, throwing a grown man temper tantrum. It was disgraceful. And Mary just was like letting him do it, just enabling him to go on a little tantrum. And she has to, because she's codependent, she's not financially free, she can't stand on her own, and she needs a man. Or she has nothing. And that is so wounded as a feminine. As a feminine, you're like a flower. You have to be able to stand on your own and bloom and just explode into the beautiful flower you're supposed to be. You know, it's harder if you don't have a gardener there to water you and tend to you and, you know, make it easier for you to flourish. But you can, and you must, because if you're desperate for a gardener because you can't do it without it, at some point you can't be a sproutling anymore. You have to be a fully independent plant, because then you're always going to be reliant on the gardener, and you're going to have to take whatever gardener you get, even if it's an asshole like John. Even if it's a guy who screams at you and yells at you like John. And I have standards. And I've tolerated them for years, these two neighbors. But my standards are higher. My standards are higher than Mary's. I don't want to, I hate to say it, end up like her. With no teeth, addicted to cigarettes, codependent on a guy who's not good at all. Literally like gross on the inside and the out. Disgusting. And Dolly, the guest, she's pretty. She's quite pretty. For an older woman, Mary, not quite on that level. And I think your physical appearance sometimes can be an outward manifestation of the inner way everything is, energetically, emotionally, and spiritually. I think that blooms outwards. Because, fire, air, and water are all the heart, the soul, and the spirit, and the mind, all the intangible inner things. And then the body is earth. The money is earth. The physical home, the physical surroundings is earth. And those all come into part together. But I don't want to end up like Mary. And I think that's where I was headed with my mindset in life. Because I'll tell you a little bit about Mary. She's very kind. She's very giving. She volunteers all the time. She does free shit for people all the time. She makes free food for people all the time. She's constantly depressed. She's smoking. She's drinking. She likes to do art. She draws cute little art stuff. She likes to go to the farmer's market. She likes makeup. She likes all this. And it's interesting because I even put I've given her things as gifts and put them in her care, and they always deteriorate. And it's almost like, because she's very, very kind, and she's very giving, and she cares a lot about people, but she doesn't have standards. And that was me. That was literally fucking me for a long time. No standards. Letting anybody in the door. I was not a diva at all. I was just kind and open and let any scumbag, gross guy into my life. And I think that's what happens to you when you are like that. You end up locked codependently to a asshole who doesn't treat you the way you deserve, who doesn't make that even much money. He makes like $15 an hour. I make no less than 25, and that's low. That's low. Like 50 is what I prefer, or more for my time. And it's interesting because energetically I'm a feminine like her, like Mary, but physically I'm a man like him. So I do make money by doing, and I do deal with all this energetic stuff as well, like her. And I'm just realizing you have to attune to earth. You have to know what you're worth. Stop doing shit for free. Stop volunteering all the time when you're living in poverty and so scarce that you're hanging on to trash, literal trash, because you can't afford to replace it. Wake up. Be paid for what you fucking do. She does all this shit that's valuable. She makes beautiful macrame. She makes beautiful knitted stuff. She makes beautiful art. She does all this stuff. She cooks beautiful, great food, really good food. She gives all of this away. She goes and volunteers like 10 hours, 15 hours a week for free. All of the stuff that she gives is likely worth enough for her to be able to live independently on her own, if she knew the value and the worth of what she was giving and expected that as money. Period. And she's in this delusional world where she's like, oh, just give, just be generous, just. Okay, be generous. You're on planet Earth. We're not energetically, emotionally, spiritually to a point as a society where you can just be generous and it'll come back to you tenfold, magically. That doesn't happen. If you're going to be generous and expect to be paid for your generosity. Go above and beyond for your work, sure, but expect that paycheck to be coming in for the generosity and the giving and the actions and the things that you're doing. Because until planet Earth gets to an equilibrium where we're all giving and receiving and it's all flowy and wonderful, we can live like that, but we can't live like that now. You have to wake up to reality. That's what attuning to the element of Earth is. And I also say all of this because I was so into Avatar: The Last Airbender as a little boy and Pokemon. And I know my twin flame was as well. And those had such an impact on me in so many ways. And there's the part where Aang is learning how to manipulate the element of Earth. And it's different. It's hard. It's brutal. It's, smacking you in the face. And it's something you can't avoid and you have to face head on with fervor and with strength and with grit and showing up and doing it every fucking day. And work, like power and strength and tenacity especially. And he learns that. And that's what it takes to embrace reality and do the work, expect to be paid for your work, and keep showing up. And that's the big fucking thing I'm learning right now, is not being Marva anymore. And I said her real name. Shit. Not being Mary anymore, okay? Not being Mary. And not being John either, where John is working for $15 an hour. I'm starting a business as a house cleaner. And I'm worth more than $15 an hour. I don't charge by the hour, I charge by the job and what I'm doing, but I know what I'm worth. And I expect to be paid that. And people are happy to pay it because I do an extraordinary job. And that's what's changing in June for me. That's why this video is so important. Because in June, I am charging into this thing as a business person. I literally have everything I need to succeed. The only thing stopping me is fear. The only thing in my way from success is hard work and mental fear. If I can get past the fear and put in the work, it all happens. And it's funny because I was looking at my calendar yesterday and I was like, I had already flipped it to June. I cleaned up my house a bit, but I had already flipped my calendar to June, and I turned it back last night, and I thought, I need one more day of May. And what May is to me is like this old chapter. And I think what that actually means as well is springtime. Springtime May is the end of my springtime mentality, springtime era. And spring for me has been extremely, like, insane. It has been insane. You know, when spring started, I was doing singing. I was in the middle of winter or spring semester. I was finishing my degree, my associates. And I was trying to build a business. I was trying to establish daily habits. I was trying to eat enough every day. And fuck, dude. I've moved now to a place, because at the beginning of spring, middle of school, no business started, no leads, no nothing. Now look where I am. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking insane. It's fucking insane. Because this sets the precedent for summer. This sets the precedent for the rest of the year. Which is where my goals are and why I've been putting in all this work. And it's like, it's crazy. So where I am right now, I have a really nice fucking website. Like, I'm talking really, really nice. I have an incredible lead in the YouTube channel. You know, I've been posting all the time. Posting to YouTube, posting to Instagram, posting to TikTok. Instagram is a really difficult platform to grow on. I will say that. It's hard to reach new audience. It's really, really difficult. I feel like it's the hardest one. It's the worst one. But the other is like, you can show up and it starts to work. I have to figure out what I need to do on Instagram, because I think it needs to be different. It's so annoying. Such a difficult platform. I have a lot on Facebook, actually, surprisingly. Like, following me, it's interesting. But anyways, this is all connected. And I have a business. I literally have a full fucking business going. I have flyers I passed out. I made flyers. I have over 100 flyers. I passed out all of them. I got more business leads. Beautiful. Like, so much progress. I got multiple clients. I got a reoccurring client. I have another client that I have to make an invoice for this weekend and quote, and then I'll probably go in next week. I even have financial aid coming in. Albeit it's loans, but it's going to change everything for me. For a moment, to give me a breath of, okay, I'm no longer like sink or swim. I can like breathe for a second. Keep doing the work, keep focusing, keep going at it, but not have to stress so much about, oh my God, if I don't get 5 leads by the end of the month, I'm screwed, I'm fucked. You know, I don't have to do that. I can be like, okay, here's financial aid, here's a loan for school. This can help me in every asset of my life, you know, my business especially. But I have this business blooming. I have this business taking off, and it's working, and people like me, and people like the work I'm doing. And I made a Yelp page yesterday. It's insane. And I'm getting paid more than a lot of people that I've worked with in the past who are ugly people that I don't want to be associated with anymore. Not that they're bad people, but they're just like wounded and warped and confused and different. And I'm like, I want to be safe. I want to have my needs met. I don't want to live in fear. I don't want to live in scarcity. I don't want to not know my worth. I don't want to be codependently linked to a guy I don't like because I have no other option. I don't want to be kind to the point of self-sacrifice. I'm just so fucking proud of myself. And I said this in like a video like the other day. It's like, I don't know if, because obviously my popular YouTube videos are me talking to the camera. And I think I'm going to, like, and it's the same with TikTok, like my brand is myself. It's not video games, it's not, house clean. It's not what I'm doing, but it's who I am. And when I show that on the internet, that's what people are drawn to. And I think people are really magnetized as well to this journey I'm on of like becoming who I'm meant to be. Even though it's messy, even though it's really fucking messy. It's really cringy. I look back on old videos, I'm like gagging. I don't even want to watch them. I want to delete them. But maybe people will use them. As cringy, as awkward, as ugly as I think they are, they're stepping stones that got me to where I am now. And they might be someone's blueprint that helps them later. I'm so fucking tired, but it's just insane to me. And I edited this video yesterday. Like, I didn't know how to do any fucking video editing software. I didn't know how to make thumbnails. I didn't know how to make any of this. And I figured it out. And I've made YouTube videos. I love making video game YouTube videos. And I think if I were to put myself more in the YouTube videos, they would be more valuable and more interesting because I am the part that's interesting. It's not the video game, it's me. And some people make video game content and the video game is what's interesting. But I think I'm the part that actually makes it interesting to watch. And right now the video games are just my voice and it's not my face. And I think if it were my face and me experiencing it, it would be different. It would be a different thing. And this is so much transformation. Because I made a video like this right before, like my life before May. And it was so fucking crazy. I had just graduated. I was just liberated from all the crazy shit that I didn't want to do anymore. It's insane. I have homework due Sunday night. I don't want to fucking do it. Frankly, I'm going to be honest with you, very, very honest. I don't genuinely feel like I need to do all this shit to get the certification. It's stuff I've learned, stuff I've mastered, stuff I've studied meticulously, got a 4.0 to learn the ins and outs of all of this scientific stuff. And now it's like the final little caboot on the end. And it's hard for me to find the will to do the quizzes because I'm not getting paid to do them. It's hard for me to do all this work to complete the final shit because I'm not getting paid for it. And I did that for so long, just working as a student for free. And I don't want to do that anymore. I want to make money for the work I do. And at the same time, that's not going to happen. I have to do this work for free. But it's the last work I'll probably have to do. That's valueless, essentially. Because I believe everything that's of value should be paid. Everything that's of value should have a price tag on it. I think in an ideal world, and a lot of people are not going to like me for this, in an ideal world, volunteering doesn't fucking exist. Because everyone has inherent worth, and that inherent worth equates to money. Everyone inherently has money for their worth. And every time they do something in the world, it gives them more money. Do something of value, it gives them more money. Every time someone does something of value for them that they value, they give that person money. and there's this flow. That's how I see it. So this idea of like volunteering your time for hours and hours on end for free is insane. It's insane to me. Because it's like what you're doing is valuable. And I think people get that, but it's like that value should also dollar bills, money. You need fucking money to pay your bills. You need money to have a house. You need money to have food. What you're doing is a value. You need to see that value return to you, and you're not seeing that because the world's crazy. So you need to be paid for what you're fucking doing. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh my God, that's so wrong. Like volunteering is so good. It's so positive. In a world full of darkness, it's so optimistic to see people who are just giving for the sake of giving. Yes, I think that's true. But I don't think it helps solve the problem. It keeps good-hearted people poor. And when they're poor, what good can they do besides just give their time and stay poor? You see? If they were to actually get paid and have money, they wouldn't be poor, and then they could do with that money good things. They could give to the people, right? Instead of giving time and attention, or you could, right? Because I even do that as a business owner. Well, we're all technically like volunteer time, where, I maybe work and then I work a lot more. Like, let's say I price something at a certain amount, and then there comes a point where I should stop working, but I want to make it really good, so I keep working until the job's exactly how I want it and I'm satisfied. And that's a lot of like almost what other people might consider unpaid work. Because I could have stopped an hour ago or 2 hours ago, but I kept going to make it perfect. That's just who I am, going above and beyond. And now I'm being recognized every time I work. I'm being recognized for that. Because people are like tipping me for that extra time. Because they see the value in it. Do you see? Going above and beyond, spending that extra time. People get to show me how valuable that is. And I get to see and experience that. And I want everyone to experience that. But you have to know what you're worth and charge what you're worth and set invoices to what you're worth so that people can pay you what you're worth. Because the truth is, I've never complained. I once did a tarot. I got a professional tarot reading for 15 minutes, and it was $200. $200 for 15 minutes of time. And it was worth every fucking penny. And I didn't complain. I wasn't bitching to the tarot reader. I was just happy to give it to her. Because it was valuable to me. And it was of value. The message, the transition, the transformation that came from that reading was worth it. From that energy reading, she held my hands even. And she told me a few things about myself. And it was very transformative. It was 4 years ago, actually. She told me I was going to be a business owner. She told me I wasn't supposed to be at the job I was at. I quit the job I was at shortly after that. Like everything she said came true, and it was all perfectly right for who I am and what I need. And it was worth $200 for 15 fucking minutes. I saw a woman last night at the Botanical Gardens singing. It was Frank Sinatra and another guy, Bobby something. And she was singing. She was the lead singer in this concert. And I was listening to her sing, and I thought, I can sound better than that. And I didn't mean it in like a cocky, narcissistic way, but I just was listening to her. She's an older woman too, lesbian, very, very good voice. But I was just listening to her, I thought, I can sing better than that. Or just as well. And she's on the stage in front of hundreds of people in a beautiful amphitheater in a botanical gardens, singing, getting paid who knows how much. Hopefully a lot, because you deserve a lot to be singing and performing like that. But I thought my voice is worth that much money, that much value, basically, and more. And that's what's been changing, I think, with this whole process, is my understanding of my own value and what it is. Because I think it's more than just being an artist, it's also being a entrepreneur. All of this is also connected to my journey with my body, because it's about balancing my chakras. And I believe, I actually do think I'm going to have the beautiful hair that I want to have. Because that's a big goal, a big thing that I really want is beautiful hair. And I think the hair is connected to your crown chakra. And you can't balance your crown until you balance every other one of your chakras, you know? Because it's your connection to God. Your closest connection. And I think I can't get there until I balance everything else, all the elements, everything. And this comes into play too, because chakras are a part of Avatar, The Last Airbender. And there's something I know a lot about just from my own experience, my own feelings. And my twin has a deep understanding of chakra as well. I think because he watched Avatar as a little kid, and when I first met him, he even said, like, my chakras are all messed up. But I don't even know if he understood fully, like, what that meant. But he was right. It's just crazy. It's crazy. All this stuff that's going on right now. My neighbors are smoking. It smells like shit, dude. Hang on. Let me check. Yeah, he's smoking. John is smoking. It reeks, and it gets in my apartment when the windows are open. Holy shit, though. Like, that's what this whole thing is about. It's why I lived next to her for 2 years, 3 years. It's why I probably lived with my mom, because I inherited my unworthiness from my mom. My mom is literally one of the most extraordinary fucking people I've ever met in my life, but she doesn't know her own worth. It's insane. That's because she was abused and wounded and afflicted with all of this trauma by her parents as a little girl. And who knows what their stories are, you know? And so I'm finally doing the fucking work to heal. And it's like becoming an entrepreneur is such a radical act of self-love, radical act of self-acceptance, learning your worth, becoming who you are, expressing yourself authentically as you truly are supposed to be, and being paid to be that. Because when I show up as a business owner, I'm showing up as myself. And people love that. And that's why they pay me. So it's so healing to my everything. Inner child, authenticity, everything. And I'm learning as I go, and it's hard. It's gritty. But I'm doing it. You know? Dolly is walking her dog now. Holy shit, though. And Dolly has been really helpful because she's come in and she's shed light on this stuff that I've been in denial of. They're hoarders. They're not, John is not a very kind person. They're addicted to cigarettes. Mary drinks alcohol, has an alcohol problem, takes a Benadryl instead of going out and doing stuff, doesn't eat food, doesn't have teeth. Not having teeth or oral health problems is also connected to throat chakra blockages, your expression, your self-expression, and then the physical work of taking care of your oral health, flossing, brushing, scraping your bacteria out of your tongue and all that. All of the different health parts of your body are also, the physical maintenance of the health is connected to your chakras. This one is blocked by wrath. This one is blocked by sloth, because the heart and the lungs is the cardiovascular system. If you're not moving and doing stuff, that doesn't work. This one is blocked by envy, the third eye. If you can't see yourself and the beauty of your own being, you'll get envious and jealous of other people, thinking that that's not within you. And that'll block your third eye. Your crown is blocked by pride. When you're disconnected from God and you feel like you are God, that's your pride. You think you're God, you're pride. And you're blocked from your crown. The solar plexus is self-worth and worthiness and power and money and knowing your worth, and that's blocked by greed, or I consider it sometimes hoarding or fear even. Is it doubt? There's certain things that are blocked by other things, but I think of it more of the 7 deadly sins and the 7 chakras. But there's also what they're, supposed to be blocked by. So this one's blocked by deceit. This one by, I think, darkness. This one by grief and anger. And the solar plexus by maybe self-doubt. I don't know. What's so interesting, moving all this energetic stuff is what moves you to where you need to be. And being an entrepreneur, especially as a business owner, your energy is your currency. So much. I'm not working for anyone. I am the work. And so when my energy is on, that's when everything starts working. When I get messed up and depressed and stuck and laying around and not doing the work and feeling doubtful and getting jealous and, losing hope and all that, business starts to fall apart too. And my dad's right about that. That's what he says, is positivity is everything. But you can't get to the positivity until you really address the shadow and heal it. This has been such a long video, but I'm just blown away by all of this stuff that I'm learning. And I want everyone to learn it. Doesn't mean everyone has to be an entrepreneur, but you best to be fucking getting paid what you're worth. $15 an hour isn't it. 20 is not it. 25 is maybe the bare minimum. I think unless you operate it, I guess, in a different way. But even then, even people who like to show up and grind for 8 hours and do that 5 days a week, it should be more money. But connecting all this to my twin, there's the 2 bottom chakras too. Gluttony and fear blocks our health. And lust blocks our sacral chakra. I should look more into that too. Because sometimes my sexuality is something that I feel complicated about. And not just my attraction to men, but just my sexuality as a whole. Because sometimes it's just complicated. It's a complicated thing. I don't know if this is the right platform to talk about that because I don't want to get too far in and not say things that are appropriate, basically. But yeah, that could be something to look into, because your creativity is blocked when you're lustful. And I don't think sexuality is sinful or wrong, but I do think there's some truth to this blockage of creativity and inner child and orange sacral chakra from guilt, from lust, stuff like that. And I think when you can address those, it helps you balance and find balance again. And that's what I'm trying to do with all of my chakras. And also start a business and do the YouTube. And I'm really fucking proud of everything I do. Showing up every day at the gym. Showing up every day eating food. It's all working out. It's all fucking working out. And all I have to do is the work. And I stop myself from doing the work and I procrastinate because I'm afraid. Because I know if I do the work, it's all going to work out. And I know if I postpone the work and if I procrastinate the work, I can delay, I can wait a little bit longer, I can stay where I've been, I can stay stuck, I can stay in poverty, I can stay where I'm familiar. And so I want to do that. My nervous system wants to do that because it's comfortable being poor. It's comfortable being stuck. It's comfortable being depressed. It's comfortable being stuck at home. And that's not the fucking theme. That's not the theme for June. That's not the theme. June is putting in the work every day and seeing exponential growth by the time July comes around. That's what June is of 2025. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. I don't care about my nervous system and what's comfortable with and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm going to fucking make it. I'm going to make it. I'm not going to let procrastination and self-doubt and fear and discomfort get in my fucking way. I'm going to fucking make it. And what that means is I want to get rich. I want to be financially free. I want to not have to worry. I want to build myself. I want to build a business. I want to build my authenticity on the internet to become the person I want to be there for myself, for my life, for my interests, for my clients, for the people I want to help, for all the people that are helped by me. That's what I want to do it fucking for. And I can't do that if I slow down and self-sabotage and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't want to fucking do that. So today's my last day. May 31st. It's my last day of June, or before June. It's my last day of May. It's my last day to be like these hoarders, to be like Marva. And I've been practicing this whole time being like all these other people. Not all these other people, but practicing being the person I want to become, basically. I've been practicing for the whole month of May. I mean, classes, I graduated at the very end of April. So I spent this whole month practicing who I want to be, showing up, going to the gym every day, doing everything I want to do at the gym every day, trying to sing. I haven't been consistent on singing. I've been inconsistent. I haven't been consistent on the business. I've gotten leads. I've made a lot of progress because I've pushed through, but I haven't been day, showing up the way I want to, because I've been self-sabotaging, because I've been scared of the change that will happen if I do show up every day. And I mentioned this in a video about pirouettes I was doing. where I was doing pirouettes every day, and I was getting really good really quickly. It was overwhelming because I wasn't used to change that quickly, positive change. And I really think you have to get comfortable with it because you're growing. You're like, what is that ugly one? The green Pokemon that is between Caterpie and Butterfree. You know, the caterpillar and the butterfly. You have to be the cocoon. And I have pants on, just so you know. I'm just lifting my knee. But my God, it's like so much is changing. And it's scary because it's unfamiliar, but it's not scary because it's bad. And I have to remember that. And then I have to show up and do all the fucking things every day. And I'm doing them alone, yes, and I can continue whining and bitching about them, but shut the fuck up. Like, it's really not that hard to do these things. It's not that hard to show up. It's just scary. And I complain about, oh, I have to do it on my own. I have blessings all over myself. All around, I have blessings. And if I'm not seeing them, especially now that it's June, it's full fucking time for light work, right? When Halloween rolls around, we can step back into shadow work and embrace the reality, embrace the truth, look at the darkness and heal. But it's summertime, it's go time, baby. I need to start stepping into light. That means gratitude. That means looking at the blessings I have. That means acknowledging the good. Seeing the fucking positive and stepping full force into it. Doing actions every day to take me to where I want to go. That's what summer's for. And today, to me, is the end of this era and stepping fully, unapologetically, completely into summer and having to step into that. Doesn't mean I'm not going to have days where I probably fail or I mess up or I cave, but that intention has shifted. And I need to shift my mindset with it. That there's no longer any time to waste. Procrastinating and waiting and delaying and shit. I need to go. And now's the time to go. I've seen so many people build businesses for themselves, and I'm finally building mine. And I've built other people's businesses for them and gotten nothing for it. And now I'm building my business and it's coming back to me. The worth, the value is no longer being siphoned up to some boss or business owner who's doing nothing and exploiting my energy and my good work ethic. And now my good work ethic and my energy is being directly siphoned to me as value translated to money. And it's done if I put in the work and work hard. And that's what I intend to do. My apartment number is also 131, which if you don't know, it's 13 and then 1. 13 is the number of death. That means an ending or a death of an old version of yourself. And this is the version I've been for maybe a decade. This old version. And I'm trying to identify who that is, what that is. And let it fucking go. Let it die. Be dead with the cobwebs, old pan. And then 1 is the number of a new beginning, a manifestation that blooms into a new beginning. So that's what this is all about. My apartment number, death and rebirth, death and a new beginning. And that's what this entire place has been for me. Living in this city, living in this place, learning these things, growing and healing. I needed to not live with my mother while I did it. And that's why it was important I moved out of Oregon and away from Oregon. That's why everything led me here. And frankly, I'm glad it led me here. I could have accomplished everything I did here in a different city, although I think I would have been struggling in poverty a lot worse and gotten to a lot darker of a place if I went to Portland or Seattle or LA I don't think I would have felt as safe in Salt Lake City with all the Mormons, or Boise with all the rednecks. Las Vegas would have been too expensive. This is the perfect place for me to be, to heal, to let the other old version of me die, and to let the new version of me bloom and become. And that's what this is all about. And it's like year 3. Summer is always the biggest time for me. My first summer here was huge. Dated a guy, experienced a lot of incredible new things, learned a lot from that relationship. My second summer here, I worked as a lifeguard, made a lot of money, transitioned a lot, started putting nudges towards my business, worked as a student, worked as a dancer, fully stepped into that, although it wasn't giving me money, what I was worth. And then my third summer here is now, and I get to decide. I get to decide what it is. And I want it to be freer financially. I want to have more money financially. I want to be able to buy things that I want. And I want to work for my money and have a good reputation and a good business. And I want to be thriving. I want to have a cleaning business that people want. You know, they want to work with me. They want to hire me because they love the work I do. They love who I am. They love the energy I bring into their home. Because that's true. And I know my worth. Unlike the hoarder woman who ended her life. Or no, not the hoarder woman, but the wife of the husband of the first episode I watched, who ended her life. She didn't realize the house was beautiful. She was the light of that home. She was the light of that home, of that family. And the mistress, the piano teacher, was not it. She couldn't replace, she couldn't copy, she couldn't even become anything close to what the mother was. And the mother didn't know her worth. And so the dad or the father couldn't see it either. And he found it in a mistress. He tried to find it in a lackluster mistress, piano teacher. And that created more depression and more falling out, and she ended her life. Because she didn't know her worth. She didn't know how magical she was. She didn't know how beautiful she was. This home was so beautiful. I think it's the same with the second woman. It's like she didn't realize the beauty she had. Yeah, maybe she didn't have a guy in her life, but she had these 2 incredible children in front of her. That helped her create the life that she wanted. And she kept magnetizing to the pessimism and the negative and the hopelessness and the worthlessness. And that warped her. Just like my neighbor with her husband. And I'm waking up now and I'm like, let that fucking die. I want to be reborn as this beautiful light who's paid a lot of money for my light because it's so beautiful. And I know that now. And I didn't know that for so long. And that's what this is all about. Starting business, doing all of it. And courage. Doing it with courage. So it's my final day. I get to fuck up. I get to do whatever I want. I get to, stay up until 8 a.m. or whatever time it is. I'll probably crash, sleep. But you know what? Tomorrow, June 1st, I'm waking up 9 a.m. Getting going. Starting my fucking life. And doing it the way I want it. And I really needed this. I needed this last day. I needed this last night because I used to stay up all the time to 3 a.m., 4 a.m. watching things, distracting myself, sabotaging. And I can't do that anymore. I have to let that go. I have to let a lot of things go. If I'm gonna step into who I need to be, I need to wake up and realize that's gotta go, that's gotta go, that's gotta go. And I need to put in the fucking work. No one's coming to do it for me. I guess what I wanted to say about my twin when I started this video was grace, love, and forgiveness. Like, I forgive him. I was learning more about autism, and it's like, I'm autistic, but we're different. And autistic people can have trouble expressing how they feel. And they just bottle it in and hide. And for so long, I interpreted his silence as, you don't think I'm worth a breath of oxygen. You don't think I'm worth 2 sentences. That's not the fucking case at all. The case is he doesn't know how to express how he feels. And he's feeling so much. And he's so overwhelmed and he doesn't know what to do. And he feels so alone and he feels so in the dark. And he's so lost. And I'm so bitter and I'm so resentful and I'm so hateful. And it's so fucking, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I've acted that way towards him because it hasn't done anything to help him. The truth is, I love him. I love him so fucking much. I love him more than anyone I've ever fucking met. And that's why I obsessed over him so much when I first met him. It's because I loved everything about him, who he was underneath everything. I saw that day one, first hour, the first 90 minutes of meeting him. I saw that and I loved that. And I obsessed over that and I wanted to know it more and more. And he hid it from me and he closed it off from me. And I dug more and more because I recognized his light was so similar to my light. And I wanted to bolster him and encourage him and lift him up so that he could fully see his light become what it was truly meant to be. But that's not for me to do to him. It's for me to do to me. That's the whole point of the twin flame path, is for me to chase him and realize I'm chasing this love that I'm actually seeing mirrored as a part of me. And it's my turn, it's my chance to realize that everything that I love about him is a similar light, is a similar beauty that I love about myself, that I have to find to love about myself. That is where my money, my worth, my power, my joy, my gifts to the world come from. And when I turn that back around, not with disdain, not with fuck you, which is not the right thing, right? Because I love him. I fucking love him. I love him so much. I love him so much. I love him so much. But this isn't about obsessing over him and helping heal all his wounds and do all that shit, do all that work and, fix all his problems and solve all his things. That's for him to do. And I know he'll do that. And I'll know he'll find this rise of passion and inspiration to do that. But only when and if I can find that in myself to the highest capacity. Because then I feel like it will liberate him to realize he can find it too. And that's also the point. And that's part of what's so scary about being the feminine, is you realize you are the muse, you are the light, and you do it in the dark. You find your way to the light in your darkness, in isolation, in nothing, in not having anyone and not having anything, and struggling in the pain and the transformation, and finding your way to the light. But you have to find your way there. You can't stay in the dark. You'll just stay stuck and become Mary or one of these hoarders. You have to find your way to the light. And then you're a beacon that magnetizes men to you. And as long as you stay focused on all of that work and all of who you are, that allowed you to become the light, and you obsessed with yourself, in love with yourself, for good reason, not because you're selfish and narcissistic and egotistical. It's because you're so obsessed with yourself, so in love with yourself because of the darkness you've been through, because of the healing you've done, because of the work you've done, because of the light you bring, how beautiful you are, how good you are, how hardworking you are, how lovely you are. It's good to be obsessed with that. It's good to be in love with that, because that's what all the men are going to be in love with too. And the twin flame path is about igniting him, the masculine, to feel that outside of himself from your energy as the feminine, from your presence as the feminine. And that completely filling him up with light again and allowing him to climb to who he's supposed to be, probably surpassing you, right? Because men are usually taller, bigger, whatever, than women, but energetically, that's sort of the point too. So getting inspired and then surpassing you. So I truly feel like my twin will and can make more money than me, be better off than me, be stronger than me, be bigger, be better. But I have to heal, I have to become, in order to be any glimpse of hope. And I have to do it without any attachment or clinging or gross little roach like leeching onto him at all. Just completely be gone, detaching, liberating him, detaching completely. There are so many men that already come in that are interested in me because of the light I'm finding, and I can settle for anyone as long as they meet my standards, treat me well enough, and work hard to earn me. But the truth is, I want him more than anyone. I want him. But because I'm attuning to earth and reality, and I'm learning to earthbend like Aang and Toph, I'm learning that I can't let him in. I can't just accept him. I can't just chase him and give him everything without knowing my worth at all if he isn't doing the work to earn it. And it's hard and it's a lot of work, and I wish I could do it for him and help him for him, but that's what mothers do. They smother instead of allowing people to become who they're supposed to be and trusting them. Right? Wounded mothers control the family and control their children and smother their children and try to take over everything. I'm familiar with that behavior in my mother. A lot of people see that in their mothers because they don't trust the father to show up like a fucking man, to show up like a king, to do the work, to be the king. And that's what my twin has to do. But he doesn't have to do it alone, not if he doesn't want to. If he earns enough to outcompete the other guys, he can do it with me if he wants. Or find another feminine that inspires him, in a positive way, in a good way. And I'd want that for him. If he found someone that lifted him up more, I'd want him to take that. Because ultimately it's not about union, it's about becoming our best selves. And I'm only responsible for me. And that's not a hoarder. That's not wounded. That's not codependent. That's not ugly. That's not poor. That's not poor. The healed version of me is not poor. The healed version is rich as fuck. And hot and beautiful and attractive and a light and positive and healthy and doing exactly what he wants to be doing with work, for his purpose, for his job, investing in all these things. That's who the healed version of me is. And that's who I want to be and am becoming. And that starts tomorrow. And today's my last day to rest. So we'll see. We'll see where we are this time next month when I'm talking about my life before July. We'll see what happens because it gets better and better and fucking better and fucking better and fucking better and fucking better every month. And it's terrifying and it's scary, but it's also exhilarating and fun. I am the generational curse breaker. I am the chosen one. I am the chosen one in my family to heal all of the curses, all of the wounds, all of the pain, all of the trauma, all of the patterns. I'm the fucking chosen one. And I'm doing it. And the truth is, like, as I do this work, I see everyone else around me heal because of it. Everyone else around me lift up because of it. That's how I know I'm the chosen one. Because other people didn't have what it took. It was too hard, it was too difficult, there was too much. And I'm not saying it's not hard, it's not difficult, it's not too much for me, but I'm doing it still. There's something in my spirit that gives me that strength to do it. And I've had that since I was like 5 years old, 4 years old, 6 years old, 7, 8. It's always been there. Middle schooler, grade schooler, high schooler, it's always been there. That spirit. And I know that's what it is. Also makes it even more complicated, this being the generational curse breaker, having such a powerful spirit, but also being gay and being chastised my whole life, being told that my identity is sinful and wrong and evil, and being cut off from spirituality when my spirit is such a powerful, strong part of who I am, yet being so closed from spirituality because of the judgment and the prejudice that lives in religion in modern day. That's why I had to find my own path to God through spirituality and crystals and witchcraft and tarot and even angels and my ancestors and sometimes Jesus and Odin and Aphrodite and Hecate and mermaids and magic, you know, and everything, chakras. Because my spirit is the thing pulling all of this. And I know it's what I came here with, is my spirit. To be this chosen one. And I'm just like, it's so beautiful and it's hard, but it's beautiful. And I just feel so special. And I feel like I couldn't have done this. It would have been much harder 50 years ago. Oh my God. 50 years ago? 100 years ago? Impossible. No internet. LGBT is like outlawed or whatever in certain places. It still is, but I can do it now. And that's why I was born at this time in history, and that's why I have just the right amount of difficulty, because I'm the chosen one to do all of this work and heal and become rich and become loving and become kind. I've always been kind, but to be able to be it more and to know my worth and to heal my chakras and heal everything and every part of me and to inspire others to heal, that's why I'm here. So we're probably out of time. My battery's really low, but I just really needed to talk about all this because it's all connected, and I think you can see that. I'm gonna eat a little bit of food, then I'm probably gonna rest, and we'll wake up maybe this afternoon and do a little bit today, and then I'll do the most pressing, important things that have to be done by the end of the weekend. And then tomorrow, Sunday, I'll do all of the things. I literally have everything set up for myself. I have my vision board. I have my goals for June and the end of June. I have my daily tasks that I need to do to build the life I want. Like, I have all the tools. I have everything I need to succeed. I just have to do it every day, starting June 1st. And that's it. And stop fucking complaining. Like, it's summertime. No more complaining. It's only time for gratitude, action, and positivity and movement. That's all we have time for. You can't be in the shadow work in summer, because then when winter comes around, you're gonna be even more in shadow work. And what are you doing? Like, you need to be doing shadow work and light work. And summer, especially June, is the time to embrace light work. And so that's what I need to do, which is positivity. No more toxic positivity, just positivity. Just look on the bright side, focus on the positive, keep moving forward, blah, blah, blah. And that's where I'm going. And I'm going to be hot, rich, happy, and successful because of it. I'm going to help people. I'm going to make them better, feel better, and their lives better. Because some people are so addicted to negativity, complaining, and pessimism that they never take a break from it all year round. And don't get me wrong, it's part of shadow work. Reality, embracing it and acknowledging it. But June, July, August especially, you should be just a positive bundle of joy. If you've done proper shadow work the rest of the year, and you've done the complaining, and you've done the healing, you've done the transforming. My life is so different than it was at the end of last summer because of all the work I've done to heal, and shadow work, and transmuting, and healing, and working. Now it's time. Positivity, action, joy,